All right, just gonna give it a minute or so for more folks to join. And there's been a talk that we should probably rebrand this call a little bit now that it's kind of broader DAO and community. So if you have ideas, what to call it, do we call it DAO and community and DAO call, something along those lines, something more creative? Shoot your ideas my way / our way. All right, looks like, well, it looks like we are waiting for a couple folks. Let's give it another 30 seconds and then we'll start rolling. Let me see if anyone they wanted to
I
go ahead.
will fill that 30 seconds. I did a thing where I'm asking for forgiveness rather than permission and invited Drake to come on and jam at the end of tomorrow's dashboard teardown about networks. We've got 4 or 5 elite reviewer networks. We're starting to spin up expert networks for other things like Solana pros. This is really starting to gather, energy. And so I wanted to have a chance to speak to a wider audience about the what and the why of networks and how they're created and how the tech is going to enable that. So I know last time we did not have enough time even for the straight up dashboard teardown. So I'm sorry, Marina. I just did this and I didn't ask for permission. So I'm asking for forgiveness instead.
All good. It's great to have Drake on that, and it's a topic we've been really wanting to tackle. So it's really an awesome crossover. We have a few dashboards. I know you're looking for dashboards that came in. We have a few. I'm gonna send some your way, and I'm sure there's a balance to be struck between tearing those down and then building networks up. So it's like creative destruction all in one call. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. All right, we are at 4 minutes. Let's kick this off. And I'm gonna start with call technicalities as usual. Now that we have our DAO-wide season goals, we're just gonna take a quick look at them to keep guiding us throughout. Then we'll take a look at the core KPIs and jump into bot updates. Too fast. So our season 4 goals, as outlined last week in our Monday call, focus on our value centers. So analysts, more of analysts and helping them do better work, protocol, app, our data providers, and then our brand and our contributors as kind of the what matters and what's valuable about MetricsDAO as well. And many of us here, or all of us here, fit into one or several of these value centers. So it's always heartening to see. And let's go into KPI updates with Aaron.
Yeah, so you'll notice here we've had a pretty big jump in Xmetric holders, 3,500. Still kind of watching this. This is a good indicator of the top of the funnel. Goal was 4,500 there. So still a little bit off, but still in a good range, roughly 80% of the goal so far. When we think of monthly active analysts, it's a little bit hard to currently connect that metric just because we have 2 places where individuals are coming in, and I haven't built a good system to actually know who's using what. But through the Notion system, we had 209 active analysts. In the app alone already over the past, I think, 6 weeks, we've had roughly, I think, 190 people use it. Last week was our biggest week of users with 140. So I do think we're kind of sitting close to that 270, 300 range of active analysts still. Thinking about challenges, right now, I think we landed at 40. I need to do a recount. We might actually hit 45, but we're in the range of the goal around there. And then with spend, we've already paid out roughly, I think 90,000. With some rollover from March, we can land, once we have an update, might be closer to 150. But we definitely are, hitting that target for the month of April as well. So overall, pretty good spot for everything, as you can see. Just need to get a little bit better tracking. But yeah, we're in a great range. Anything, within 80%, I think is positive.
Thank you,
Any
Aaron.
questions? No problem.
As usual, giving it a few seconds, awkward pause to see if questions come in, but don't seem to be any. So let's go on to analytics with Zook.
Hello, everybody. So here's our updates for analytics. So on the top of the slide is the data, and in green, you'll see the increase since my last update of last week. So in terms of analysts, 12 new analysts joined, and 112 is the cumulative number of unique addresses, unique analysts who have submitted in the app. We've had 45 submissions since in the last 7 days and 3 new reviewers. And so cumulative payments approaching 12,000 USDC in the app. Now in the bottom left is the Notion data. And I was expecting to see a steady decrease in submissions through Notion, but we've had 67 analysts using Notion last week. So we still host challenges on Notion, mainly challenges that are not paid in USDC, but use partner tokens, such as Solana, for example. Those are still hosted on Notion, so there's still activity there. Now, in terms of updates, well, in season 4, you'll see a big focus on networks and more updates on network coming up in the next few slides. Um, we we want to ensure the community forms networks based on their specific skill sets and that they can establish credibility through the networks. And we hope that this is going to fix a lot of problems and that the network's credibility will reduce the community management that we have to do here at MetricsDAO. Um, so also want to thank BizDev and marketing for their awesome outreach to partners. I can see they're working hard talking to various partners, and we're hopeful that this is going to result in new challenges for everybody. So that's all for analytics. We can move on to peer review, please. Okay, so here I'm sharing a few stats on our reviewer networks, 4 of them. So since last week, the Samurai have completed 50 peer reviews, and the brand new network called Silisao completed their first batch of reviews of 53 reviews. There's also another network called Solar Core that handles Solana reviews, but I don't have stats on them for now because they're brand new. Today I badged 14 new Metric masters, giving them access to the review module of the app. So there's more people that can review the app now. And we also established a process to periodically badge the brand new Xmetric masters who have reached 2,000 Xmetric tokens. We're also surveying our networks, trying to get a bit of information on them. What's the purpose of each network? What's their unique value proposition? And some basic information such as who do we need to reach if we want to talk to your network. So the purpose of this survey is to host some information on our Gitbook page and better match challenges with networks and also review tasks with the appropriate networks. So we're just gathering information on them for now. Last week, we also issued 2 warnings. The analysts that committed various malpractices like double dipping or plagiarism. This week, we're going to write a process to handle what we call spam, which are all types of flag submissions. So we just want to have a clear internal process. How do we handle them? How do we relay information to payment processing to hold up payment on the spammers? But also we want to set expectations with the community in terms of punishment. so that we don't have to improvise when it's time to punish the plagiarists and other types of spammers. So that's it for analytics and peer review. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll move on to Bounty Ops.
Quick question, Zook. What do you think is a good idea in terms of like where the process, the final process that's decided on will live for handling aberrations? Do you think, you know how the plagiarism policy lived or still does on the Notion page? Do we put it on Discourse? Do we put it on the updated code of conduct or kind of anywhere else? What do you think?
Yeah, so good question. I would think the code of conduct should be kept relatively high level, so we don't have to vote on changes to the code of conduct. If we change the punishments that we issue, we make slight changes in the punishments. We don't have to re-vote on every single change. But I would think the easiest would be to host it on Notion. But I know that there is a push now to have a Gitbook page that is up to date. So I think the details of the process and the various punishments will most likely be described either on Notion or Gitbook. So I'll talk to you and GJ and other colleagues on where the best place is to host this information.
Awesome, thanks, Zook. Zook, looking forward. All right, seems to be no more questions on Zook's update. Let's go to challenge ops.
Yeah, so we shipped, roughly 13 challenges last week, roughly 8 in Notion and 5 across the app. So that's awesome. Expecting to ship some more in the app this week. We developed one new additional marketplace. This was SkillForged. It's a marketplace where individuals will be rewarded in a fake token, but we can ship easy, hard, any form of challenges actually, so individuals can kind of, one, test out the app, and two, test their abilities if they're looking to kind of level up their skills or understand where they're at. We wrote some new easy challenges, which we will be leveraging for SkillsForge, so we look out for that as well. And then, as Zook mentioned, we kind of created a new network called Solar Core. Priorities for this week, continue to ship challenges, but hoping to continue to ship more in the app versus in our old process. So be on the lookout for that. We're working with the current marketplaces to align challenges and develop more opportunities. Ways to think about this is like, hey, Pine has a marketplace. Can we essentially work with them to encourage them to run, their own challenges, maybe even if it's funded by the DAO, but it's, helping build a network and paint a clear picture of how networks can create marketplaces and run challenges. Or even essentially for review networks or analyst networks, how can we tap them and essentially incorporate them in more stuff so that they understand, how to use the innovation stack such as Badger, the tooling, the platforms, and all of that. We're going to look to launch one new marketplace. I don't know if I'm going to call this the MetricsDAO or Flipside's marketplace. This is the marketplace where the majority of Flipside's challenges run through. The current issue that we're just having with the beta marketplace is we've tapped our largest review network to do that, and it is becoming costly. Great learning experience. Now we just know that, hey, we got to put some filters here on this review situation, both from a product standpoint, but also from an operations standpoint. So looking to create a new marketplace with a smaller network of reviewers to ensure we can maintain review costs. Drake did a good job of expanding on the data, so you guys can click on that. You guys can see how the app is going there. It's awesome. You'll get to see the numbers week over week, and we should continue to see them go up. Hoping this week, by the end of it, we have over 200 users that have used the app. So that's the target there. And then, we have an update. App review payment is coming here soon. Some of the major concerns that we have are just the end-to-end project management of our larger challenges, our work, who's actually ensuring that, the scope of the work is laid out in a meaningful way based on the timeline of the client, expectation for delivery, and ensuring, each step of the way, if there's issues or feedback or questions, that there's a process and a loop in place between the client and the MetricsDAO community. So hopefully developing a network of project managers that kind of can service those requests. And then, yeah, the other big thing, as I mentioned, is like this overspend on reviews. We've identified the core issues of what those are. Product team is working on building product features. Ops team will work on, ops and community, I should say, will work on ensuring that, from this social coordination piece that we have it under control. A lot of info covered fast. So if anyone has questions, let me know.
There don't seem to be questions just yet. Let's go to the next update, and there's a few conversations, a few decisions that you mentioned that I know I'll be following offline. I'm sure others will as well. So let's go to protocol dev. Thanks, Aaron, by the way.
Hey, everyone. This week is pretty much a heads down week, and so was last week. The team has been pushing really hard on cross-chain payments, the N badge screens, which are new marketplace and challenge creation flows with a lot more flexibility around managing networks, as well as a ton of protocol updates and badger updates. And yeah, all those are in flight, making great progress. Coming soon. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for this update. Are there any questions before we move on? No? Silence? Awesome. Let's go to biz dev with James.
Hey everyone. So last week, the big exciting event we had was the first annual MDAO Juice Hang at Consensus. Absolutely amazing. Had about 10 partners show up to it. And then 4, soon to be data partners showing up as well. Everybody's interacting. Lots of juice was shared. Absolutely amazing. This week's priorities. So we have 34 total data partners now. Big data protocol. I met with them this morning. And then they got back to me, and they're officially our newest data partner, which is very, very exciting. And then from meeting at Consensus last week, we have a big, hairy, audacious goal of 100 official data partners. So it's going to be a lot more meetings in the future and hopefully signing them on. That's it for me.
Thank you, James. This is so cool to hear. And let's go for 100 data partners. Woohoo! And let's go to DAO Ops first with Nan, and then Bill's was not able to make it, so I'll read those updates in lieu of him. Nan, all yours.
Right. Not a lot this week, honestly. So the contractor policy is back with legal, so we're waiting on feedback for that around things like distinction between limitation of liability versus indemnable, and so yeah, that'll get back to us, and we'll proceed from there. And then we're still working with Treasury on some policy stuff, but nothing that'll really affect anyone outside their work stream. That's about it.
Thanks, Nan. Any questions before I cover Treasury's update? Awesome. So for Treasury, they were awesome and paid the final season 3 bounties. That was past week. This week, the priority is to get our contributor payments. So if you are a contributor and have not yet submitted your form, there is a new form this month. Please submit soon. And this is not on the slide, but I know that Kakamora has updated us that season 4 challenge payments from Notion are a bit delayed because of some of the flagged reviews. Community members have shared some requests to take a second look at flags like empty or plagiarism, I believe, and maybe Zook will correct me which ones exactly, but that's being taken seriously and being paid close attention to, so that will take a bit of processing time for some of the few challenges of season 4 from Notion. And that's all I know for Treasury. And if there's any questions, hopefully we can hit up Bill's offline. Let's go to marketing with Alex.
Yep, last week we got some Canva templates from Art Ghost, so he doesn't have to do so much copy paste work. Partner promotion and education content stuff. We're still, from talking to people, I feel like we're a week or two away from like being in a really good spot with just being ahead of the game for everyone's sake on that. Working on a community promotion program and some analytics stuff, and worked through. I think this a little bit helpful for other people, but definitely for me, just understanding what new analyst means and how we're driving stuff there. So I know what we need to work on the marketing front to help us reach our goals this week. Karma, a tool that can help us with the community promotion program, send me a proposal, so I got to review that and maybe look at another couple tools to get that continue moving forward. Working on promoting our courses with Thread, so gonna get one of those made this week and published this week, hopefully. Still looking to get ahead on the education marketing, so that's just smooth. Those reminders always go out, and we don't have to worry about mistiming or anything. And then, yeah, working on some ad stuff, some copywriting, and there's a Block Native project. They're a little bit different than other data partners, but we're doing some big things there that I think could be really great for analysts and the DAO and Block Native and the space as a whole. So still a little bit secret right now, but we're doing some big things. Cool, that is what I've got.
Alpha, gotta love that. Are there any questions before we go to the next update? No questions. All right, let's do education with Vaida.
Hello. So during the past weeks, we've been focusing on preparing for the next Web3 analytics cohort. So it's exciting update, but we will actually release some dates this week. So you will know when the next cohorts are going to start, and they are going to be in the next few weeks. So that's a big update. And then other than this, and also focusing on the partner sessions and demos. And we've also just finished the first Twitter course. So this week as well, we'll spend retrospecting and reflecting on what can be improved in this course, and if we want to put it on the learning platform, on how that can look like, and as well planning for for seeing how the upcoming professionalism track is going to look like, as well as building, connecting with experts and building a Web3 a near model for analytics. And as well, we've just asked the community if they have any topics for the upcoming partner workshops, and this invitation's opens to you all here. So if you have any kind of ideas of what we could propose to partners as topics, this can be for different kind of skill levels, and it can be both linked to blockchain, analytics, visualization, etc. So just drop here in the chat or in the thread that is in the education chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Vaida. Are there any questions that anyone has on all this great education work before we go on to community? That wasn't as smooth as I hoped, but I made it into a transition. So community updates, I'm going to try to go a little bit different this time and just highlight a couple of major themes and then a couple of things for you would love for you to check out instead of kind of reading all of it. One of the big themes here is we're working more and more together with different pods. So you'll see a lot of these initiatives here are kind of cross-pod, cross-function, like the dashboard teardown, which is coming up tomorrow. It's next installment. This is a collab that works both for the community side of things as well as valuable for the reviewers and challenge ops. So Sunslinger and Sam are going to tear down some submissions tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. And as you heard, Drake will also pop in to talk about networks on that call. So we'd love to see all of you there if you can make it. And another theme here is networks, which also is something we collaborate with and kind of is a very much DAO-wide and cross-functional direction right now. We have a channel in the networks section of Discord. It's just called Networks 101. So you can already check out kind of the starter guide there, and we'll add Drake's video in there after tomorrow. And yeah, if you want to make a network, that's where you can get started and ask any questions. And DJ apparently has will choose a bit of violence tomorrow on the dashboard teardown, as I see in the chat. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so these are major themes and a couple of things for you all to check out in addition to the Networks 101 channel. There is a blog post that we featured our analysts in last week. We do these weekly now, as you remember. So give our analysts some love. I linked both the post and the Twitter thread that Alex and his team put together, which was really awesome. So check it out. It's linked in the slides on the past week side. Among other analysts, our own Adria was featured there with his great dashboard. Love to see that. And then another thing we'd love for you all to check out is a blog post about where we're going as a DAO in season 4. So all the things that we've been talking about in these meetings and all the planning exercises, our plussed, took into narrative form to kind of tell the world what we're about this season. So check out the blog post linked in the slides. And he also wrote an awesome Twitter thread. Thanks, Alex, for posting. These are some links for you to peruse and some love to give to analysts and everyone. And the final thing is our ghost may or may not be making some stickers for MetricsDAO. Stay tuned. And there's a thread where we'd love to hear all of your ideas, any of your ideas. Right now, the play is on kind of the brain, but we'd love to hear anything else. Come with, your best, your worst. Our ghost literally said, dumb ideas welcome, and it's going to be my ideas, so we're just going for it. And as always, be careful, beware of scammers. I know some community members have been really careful recently. When I've messaged one or two people, they're really making sure it's me, so I really love to see that. Props to them. And that's my community updates. GJ, anything to add before we wrap up?
Just a question. I read the starter pack document. One of the things I'm adding to Gabriel's dramatically backed up workload, Gabriel, spoiler alert, is documentation around networks. I will absolutely be tapping Ed and Drake for that as well. But for the starter pack document, is there anything specifically that you need from us before we chat with our friendly art ghost and do a little branding?
This is a question for me.
I think it's a question for you since you wrote the document, but other feedback is welcome also.
I think the big piece is kind of a running list of networks and what they mean. And I know that's like on your radar. That's all I can think about. And I think we'll if we can add the video from tomorrow, that would be awesome.
Cool. Yeah, the list of networks I will work with Gabriel on probably tomorrow evening to get it up to speed. I have a running list that I haven't shared yet because it's out of date always because networks are growing so fast, which is awesome. But we will get a version of the latest and greatest up in Gitbook. I'm targeting Wednesday for that. Ultimately, this is the type of thing we want to be automated and not manual. Yeah, great call out, Drake. All the networks should have received a survey with whether they have a badge or not, what they specialize in, and other info that we can populate Gitbook in, all of which will lead towards giving people something to read, to know about networks. There's a lot of this that is only going to come from word of mouth as well, letting people know that if you're a member of a network, it makes it easier to earn money, to grow in prestige, to grow in skill, to have fun. So we all have to get the message out if we can. but that'll be a lot easier when we have a standard set of docs to point to as well. And so that's what I'm going to start with.
Awesome. Thank you so much for driving that and putting that together. And yeah, Drake pointed out in the chat about the survey. So that's really cool. Yeah, always do engage with the Networks 101 channel. Drake hangs out there, DJ too, and you can ask away. And before we wrap, I wanted to shout out Playwo, who's on this call. And you can see that on the slide that he's really awesome and made a custom bot for our Earn channel, which is a new channel at the top of the Discord, and that announces every new challenge that gets posted and all the details. So thank you, Playwo, for being a real one. We appreciate you. We love the bot. Thanks. We need to give that man a special badge if you check out the channel. DJ is giving spoilers on another network. There's networks, and we badge the world. Love that. Right. And if there are there any other questions, comments, anything to mention before we wrap this call up for the week? Let's see. Nope. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this DAO updates community call transitioning kind of thing event. And we'll see you on next Monday, and we'll see you in the meantime in Discord. Have a great week. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thanks for hosting, Marina.